Living my best life, no regrets, just adventures. Hashtag holiday mood, hashtag luxury life. Back home, Tenny's envy intensified. She watched every story, every video, wishing desperately that she could be the one living that life. Her coldness toward Chike grew with each post, each sparkling sunset, each expensive meal flaunted across social media. He had money, she had beauty. But love didn't last. It was a bright, sunny morning when Amara stepped out of her apartment in Lagos, dragging her oversized luggage behind her. Her light-skinned complexion glowed under the sun, and every movement she made seemed to whisper elegance. Today wasn't just any day, it was the day she would post the first of many glamorous shots from her holiday in Qatar. At the airport, she found a quiet corner near the check-in counters. With a quick glance at the bustling crowd, she held her phone high. First post of the day, she muttered, half to herself, half to the camera. She snapped a selfie with her sunglasses perfectly perched, the soft morning light bouncing off her flawless skin. Caption typed. Off to Qatar. First class life begins. Hashtag blessed, hashtag luxury life. Before she even hit upload, her phone buzzed with likes from friends and followers who had long admired her beauty and style. Her excitement was electric as she wheeled her luggage toward the first-class check-in. The airline staff greeted her warmly, clearly recognizing someone used to traveling in style. Inside the cabin, she sank into the plush leather seat, smiling at the flight attendant who offered her champagne. She quickly snapped another photo, this time of her seat, the wide legroom, the sparkling drink, and the tiny chocolate on the tray table. Caption. Champagne in the clouds. Hashtag living the dream, hashtag first class. Amara, you're really living, her cousin, Tenny, messaged her. Amara replied with a grin emoji and a wink. I know, right? Someone's gotta enjoy life. As the plane took off, Amara leaned back, scrolling through the exotic itinerary her partner had planned for her, a private tour of the Souk Waqif, dinner under the desert stars, a ride in a luxury yacht along the Doha coastline. Each item was more luxurious than the last. Landing in Doha felt like stepping into another world. Towering skyscrapers glistened like diamonds in the desert sun, and the streets were clean, wide, and impossibly modern. She couldn't resist snapping a picture as she exited the airport. Caption. Hello, Doha. Hashtag adventure time, hashtag blessed and highly favored. By the evening, Amara had posted herself at a world-class cafe, sipping on pink macarons and a lavender latte, her long hair flowing in the breeze. The likes rolled in, comments praising her beauty and lifestyle. One comment caught her attention. Who's footing all this, Amara? She typed quickly, pride in her fingers. My husband. A small, curious voice inside her phone chimed again, asking. So, bride price has been paid. Amara paused, staring at the comment. She didn't respond. Not yet. She just smiled for the camera, lifting her latte, pretending the question had never been asked. Little did she know that simple, proud post would spark envy, curiosity, and comparisons among girls back home. But for now, all she could think about was the luxury surrounding her, the thrill of adventure, and the glamorous life her followers would soon envy. Back in Lagos, Tenny sat on her small balcony, phone in hand, scrolling through Instagram. Her morning had been ordinary, breakfast, checking emails, answering a few work messages, but the moment she saw Amara's latest posts, the world seemed to tilt a little. There was Amara, glowing in a lavender dress, sipping that pink latte in Doha, the caption sparkling with emojis. Hello, Doha. Hashtag adventure time, hashtag blessed and highly favored. Tenny clicked through more pictures, Amara in the first-class cabin, Amara landing at the airport with a designer suitcase, Amara posing against the backdrop of skyscrapers that seemed taller than the clouds. Her feed was a kaleidoscope of luxury. Tenny couldn't help herself. Her fingers hovered over the keyboard before typing. Wow, Amara. Who's footing all this? Almost immediately, her phone buzzed. Amara had replied. My husband. Tenny stared at the reply, eyebrows raised. Her curiosity sharpened. Husband. Already, she muttered under her breath. A twinge of envy prickled at her chest. She typed again, trying to be casual but firm. Oh, so, bride price has been paid. Just wondering. Tenny waited. And waited. There was no response. The ticking silence from Amara's side made her heart sink in ways she hadn't expected. Meanwhile, Amara, somewhere in Doha, had already moved on from her phone. She was walking along a glimmering promenade, sipping a coconut drink, completely enchanted by the city lights reflecting off the Persian Gulf. To her, Tenny's question didn't matter. She had the luxury, the attention, and the thrill of being somewhere that felt like a dream. Back in Lagos, Tenny put her phone down, chewing her lower lip. She felt a sudden pang of longing. If only, she whispered softly. If only that were me. Her gaze drifted toward her own modest surroundings, the small apartment, the tired streets outside, her struggling fiancé still asleep upstairs, working hard but far from wealthy. Her own dreams seemed to pale in comparison to Amara's glittering life. And yet, there was a seed of jealousy now taking root, a quiet, simmering wish to have the same life, the same excitement, the same status. Later that evening, her fiancé, Chaik, noticed her unusual quietness. He leaned against the doorway, brushing a hand through his hair. Tenny. You've been staring at that phone all evening. What's wrong? She looked up, eyes glimmering but cold, hiding the envy she felt. Nothing, she said quickly, scrolling past Amara's photos as if they didn't matter. But Chaik wasn't fooled. He had noticed the sudden distance between them, the distracted mood, the subtle comparisons she seemed to be making. Are you thinking about her? He asked cautiously, his voice low. Tenny turned away, biting her lip, feeling a mix of guilt and longing. It's nothing, Chaik. Just social media stuff, she muttered, her tone colder than she intended. Chaik sighed softly, a tinge of hurt in his eyes. Just remember, Tenny, not everything you see online is real. People show the best parts of life, not the struggles or the truth. But Tenny didn't respond. Her thoughts were elsewhere, stuck on the dazzling posts, the luxury, and that silent, unanswered question, had Amara really tied her life to someone, or was this just another fantasy? Little did she know, this curiosity would spiral into something bigger, envy, self-reflection, and a lesson about desire, loyalty, and what truly matters in life. Days passed, and Tenny couldn't shake the images of Amara's glamorous life. Each notification ping felt like a tiny jab. First-class flights, luxury yachts, fine dining under Doha's desert stars, Amara's Instagram feed was a parade of everything Tenny had dreamed about. Tenny sat at her small kitchen table, stirring a lukewarm cup of tea, scrolling again. She paused at a video of Amara laughing atop a skyscraper observation deck, her hair blowing in the wind, the city lights sparkling below like scattered diamonds. If only, Tenny whispered, tracing the screen with her finger. She imagined herself there, in that glamorous dress, champagne in hand, the world at her feet. Her gaze drifted upward to her fiancé, Chaik, who was fixing a lamp in the corner of their apartment. His brow was furrowed, hands steady, working hard as usual. Tenny felt a pang of frustration mixed with longing. Why can't life be like that for me? She muttered under her breath. Chaik paused and looked over, a gentle frown on his face. Tenny, what's wrong? You've been quiet all morning, and now you're staring like you're somewhere else. Tenny flinched. She wanted to say, I'm just tired, or it's nothing, but the words felt hollow. Instead, she forced a small, polite smile. I'm fine, Chaik. Really? But her actions betrayed her. She avoided eye contact, kept her phone in hand, and scrolled back through Amara's posts as if seeking a portal to that luxurious life. Every snap of Amara's smiling face, every glittering scene abroad, made her feel the dull ache of her own reality. Chaik set down the screwdriver and came closer. Tenny, are you comparing me to someone else? His voice was soft, but there was a sharp edge of worry. Tenny's heart skipped. Of course not, she thought, but the truth was harder to swallow. I'm just tired, Chaik. Don't worry about it, she said coldly, her tone sharper than she intended. Chaik's frown deepened. He had worked tirelessly to provide for them, but he knew Tenny's mind was elsewhere. Tenny, he said gently, reaching for her hand. I know life isn't perfect. But what we have is real. Don't let someone else's showy posts make you forget that. Tenny pulled her hand back. I said I'm fine, she muttered, trying to hide the envy that bubbled inside. Meanwhile, thousands of miles away in Doha, Amara was oblivious. She posed for another selfie, this time in a luxury desert resort. The wind tousled her hair as she laughed, the sun casting a golden glow on her flawless skin. Caption typed. Desert dreams do come true. Living my best life. Blessed beyond measure. She had no idea that back home, Tenny's admiration was already twisting into envy. Tenny's jealousy was like a quiet fire, burning in her chest. Every image, every caption, every glamorous moment was a reminder of what she didn't have. And with that fire growing, Tenny started seeing Chike differently. His hard work, which had once seemed admirable, now felt frustrating. His humble efforts could never compete with the glittering life Amara flaunted online. That night, Tenny lay awake, staring at the ceiling, replaying every luxurious post. She wished desperately to be the girl in Qatar, sipping champagne, laughing in a city of lights, while her own life felt small and ordinary. Little did she know, her envy was planting the seeds of tension between her and Chike, tension that could either break them apart or teach her the value of what she already had. The next morning, the sun spilled into Tenny's small apartment, but she barely noticed it. She sat at the breakfast table, scrolling through Amara's latest posts, another stunning photo, this time of Amara on a private yacht, sparkling water all around. The caption read, "Living like royalty on the Arabian Sea. Blessed and highly favored. No regrets." Tenny's lips pressed into a thin line. She sipped her tea, not tasting a thing. Chike entered, yawning, rubbing his eyes. "Morning, Tenny. I made some breakfast. You want eggs or just bread?" Tenny barely looked up. "Bread is fine," she muttered, her voice flat. Her usual warmth, the cheerful smile he loved, was gone. Chike paused, frowning, holding the plate of eggs in one hand. "Tenny, what's happening? You've been distant these past days. Even yesterday, you barely spoke to me." Tenny exhaled sharply. "I said I'm fine, Chike. Can you just leave it?" Her tone was icy, sharp enough to make him flinch. Chike put the eggs back on the counter, rubbing his jaw. "I don't understand. We've worked so hard together. I'm here for you. Why are you acting like this?" Tenny's mind raced. "Because I want a life like hers," she thought, but she couldn't bring herself to say it. Instead, she muttered, "I'm just tired of everything." Chike's shoulders slumped. He had noticed her frequent glances at the phone, the lingering sighs, the way she compared him silently to someone else. His heart ached. "Tenny, you can't let Instagram decide how you feel about us," he said softly. Tenny didn't respond. She stood abruptly and walked to her room, slamming the door behind her. Chike sighed, sitting at the table alone, staring at the eggs he had cooked. Meanwhile, Amara was laughing under the glow of the Doha skyline. She had been whisked into a luxury desert dinner setup, complete with lanterns and a private musician playing soft Arabic tunes. She posted yet another picture, smiling with the city lights behind her. "Doha nights, golden lights. Luxury life. Living my best life." Back home, Tenny scrolled through the post again. Her envy deepened. "Why can't my life be like that?" she thought bitterly. "Why does it feel like I'm stuck here with?" She glanced at Chike, who was quietly fixing a broken table leg, with him. Chike knocked lightly on her door later that afternoon. "Tenny, please. Talk to me. I can't fix this if I don't know what's going on." Tenny, curled up on her bed with her phone, ignored him. Her coldness was deliberate now, an invisible wall built from envy and longing. She tapped another emoji on Amara's post, smiling faintly at the glittering yachts and sparkling dresses. In her mind, she was there, sipping champagne, laughing under the desert stars, free from struggles and ordinary life. Chike walked away, silently wounded, unsure how to reach the woman he loved. He knew she was comparing him to a fantasy she couldn't have. And deep down, he feared that the distance growing between them might not be southwest easy to close. Tenny, meanwhile, didn't see the danger of her envy yet. She only saw the thrill of luxury, the intoxicating life of someone else, and the coldness she now used as armor to shield herself from reality. The seeds of tension had been planted. And little did she know, the glamorous world she admired from afar would soon collide with the harsh truths of heartbreak, loyalty, and self-realization. By now, Amara had fully settled into her glamorous holiday. Each morning in Doha felt like a scene from a movie. Breakfast in a sunlit terrace overlooking the Persian Gulf, private tours of ancient souks, and selfies in front of glittering skyscrapers that seemed to touch the clouds. She laughed easily, the kind of laughter that sparkled in photos and videos, sending waves of envy to anyone scrolling her feed back home. Her phone constantly buzzed with likes and comments from friends and strangers alike, praising her beauty, her style, her life. But behind the flawless posts, reality had subtle cracks. The young man who owned her world was charming, attentive, and generous, but only in bursts. Sometimes, he vanished for hours with vague excuses, business calls, a meeting came up, just needed some air. He never talked about the future, proposals, or even plans beyond the week. One afternoon, Amara lounged by a pool at a 5-star resort, her sunglasses reflecting the sparkling water. She took a slow sip of her cocktail, scrolling through messages. "Where are you?" she typed impatiently. Minutes later, the reply came. "Busy. Don't worry. Enjoy the sun." Amara frowned. Her heart sank, but she quickly masked it with a smile and snapped a photo for Instagram. Poolside paradise #luxury vibes #blessed and highly favored. The likes poured in, and the world seemed perfect. But in the quiet moments, she wondered, why is he never fully present? Why won't he say the words that make this real? She brushed the thoughts away. It doesn't matter, she told herself. I'm living the dream now. The young man, meanwhile, never made promises or plans beyond entertainment. He never said, "I love you," never talked about marriage seriously, and certainly hadn't mentioned anything about a bride price or commitment. His attention was fleeting, his affection performative, like a spotlight that shone brightly, then vanished when it pleased him. Still, Amara was blinded by the thrill. Desert safaris, luxury dinners, and helicopter rides seemed to make up for everything. She posed for another selfie, golden light illuminating her face as she grinned at the camera. "Living my best life, no regrets, just adventures." #holiday mood #luxury life. Back home, Tenny's envy intensified. She watched every story, every video, wishing desperately that she could be the one living that life. Her coldness toward Chike grew with each post, each sparkling sunset, each expensive meal flaunted across social media. But the cracks in Amara's holiday bubble were invisible to everyone else. Only she felt the subtle emptiness, the absence of a real, deep connection. Her heart, though pampered, wasn't secure. And yet, she didn't notice it, lost in the glitter and applause of the digital crowd. Little did she know, this shallow fun was temporary. The thrill of luxury, the praise of strangers, and the illusion of love were setting her up for a heartbreak she wouldn't see coming. One evening, they dined in a private rooftop restaurant overlooking Doha's skyline. Candles flickered across the table, the soft hum of the city below blending with the gentle clink of cutlery. Amara smiled for the camera, snapping a quick selfie. Dinner with the stars #luxury vibes #living the dream. But when she looked up, he was staring at his phone, texting, not even glancing her way. "Everything okay?" she asked, trying to mask the irritation in her voice. Yeah, just work stuff," he muttered without looking up. Amara nodded, forcing a smile, but a tiny seed of doubt had been planted. She brushed it aside, telling herself, it doesn't matter. I'm here, having fun. That's what counts. Over the next few days, small red flags appeared. He would sometimes leave her at the hotel while he went out for a quick business meeting. Or he would promise to meet her at a cafe and cancel at the last minute, offering vague excuses. One afternoon, she scrolled through their old chat messages and noticed something unsettling. He never talked about the future, never mentioned marriage, never even hinted at commitment. Every conversation was light, playful, and shallow, designed for amusement rather than connection. She confronted him gently one night in their suite, the city lights reflecting off the floor-to-ceiling windows. "Are we really serious?" she asked quietly. He laughed softly, a charming, disarming sound. "Of course, baby. But we're just enjoying life right now. Why stress?" Amara frowned, heart sinking slightly. "That's it. That's all," she thought. But the golden desert sands, the luxurious suites, and the sparkling nights distracted her. She chose to ignore the uneasy feeling in her chest. She posted another picture on Instagram, herself in a flowing gold dress, the wind whipping around her, the caption glittering with emojis. Golden nights, sparkling dreams #blessed and highly favored #luxury life. Back home, Tenny's envy burned brighter than ever. She saw every story, every luxurious meal, every private yacht trip, wishing desperately she were Amara. She was colder to Chike now, lost in daydreams of wealth and status. But Amara's warnings, little silences, missed calls, vague excuses, were ignored. Her trust in appearances and luxury had clouded her judgment. She was too blinded by glamour to see the cracks widening beneath her sparkling world. And the truth, the reality she was ignoring, was simple: the young man had never truly committed. She was enjoying a luxury fairy tale, but one built on sand, not stone. It was a quiet Thursday morning in Doha. Amara had planned another day of adventure, a private yacht trip with the sparkling skyline behind her, champagne in hand, hair flowing in the wind. She felt untouchable, invincible, wrapped in luxury and admiration. Her phone buzzed. A message from him. She smiled at first, expecting something sweet, maybe an itinerary or a romantic note. But as she read the words, her heart skipped and then plummeted. "We're done. It's over. Don't contact me again." Her fingers froze. Her eyes widened. Done. Over. What? Why? The young man's previous charm, his laughter, his glittering promises, it all vanished in one cold, merciless text. Amara dropped her phone, the sound echoing like a gunshot in the otherwise serene morning. She stumbled to the railing of the yacht, staring at the endless blue, the glittering city behind her now feeling like a prison of illusions. Every luxury she had flaunted, every glamorous post she had shared, suddenly felt hollow. She thought back to the desert dinners, the private tours, the champagne in first-class cabins. He had never proposed. He had never truly committed. He had used her for fun, for attention, for the thrill of being with someone beautiful abroad. Tears blurred her vision. She sent one frantic text. "Please, talk to me. What did I do?" No reply. By the afternoon, Amara was wandering the streets of Doha, the glittering city now cold and alien. She posted one last image on Instagram, a selfie, forced smile, eyes hiding despair. Sometimes dreams aren't what they seem. #life goes on. #lessons learned. Back home in Lagos, Tenny scrolled through Amara's posts again. Her heart skipped when she saw the final message: heartbreak in full view, luxury suddenly meaningless. Tenny's envy faltered, replaced by a new feeling: relief, clarity, and appreciation for what she had. She glanced at Chaik, sitting quietly in the corner, still working hard, still dependable, still real. Maybe this is what I should be holding on to, she thought. Meanwhile, Amara's world of glitter and glamour had collapsed in an instant. The lessons she ignored, the red flags, the vague promises, the absence of true commitment, had all come crashing down. She had been used, left alone, and faced the bitter taste of reality that no amount of luxury could mask. The audience felt the sting of her downfall. The sparkle of the posts, the thrill of the first-class flights, the desert sunsets, all meaningless without loyalty, love, or truth. Amara realized, too late, that chasing illusions could never replace genuine care, consistency, or love. Tenny sat on her balcony, the evening breeze ruffling her hair. Her phone glowed in her hands, buzzing with notifications. She opened Instagram, scrolling through the usual posts, until she saw it, Amara's last story. It wasn't laughter, champagne, or sparkling yachts this time. It was a plain selfie, eyes red, mascara smudged, captioned: "Sometimes dreams aren't what they seem. Cloud with tornado. #life goes on. #lessons learned." Tenny's fingers froze. She scrolled back through the feed, reading the sudden sequence of events, the lavish trips, the champagne dinners, the glamorous posts, and then the abrupt breakup, the cold messages, the empty smile in the last photo. A wave of realization washed over her. The envy she had felt, the longing for wealth, luxury, and status, suddenly felt shallow and foolish. Amara's life had glittered like gold, but it had no foundation. It had been built on charm, illusions, and someone else's fleeting attention. Tenny's eyes fell on Chaik, who was quietly fixing a lamp in the corner. His hands were steady, his focus calm, and his heart had always been hers, loyal and real. He had never promised her yachts or champagne dinners, but he had given her honesty, consistency, and love. Her heart softened. This is what really matters, she thought. Not someone else's showy life, not Instagram posts, not illusions. She walked over to Chaik, gently taking his hand. "Chaik. I'm sorry," she whispered, her voice trembling. "I've been distant. I was caught up in someone else's life, and I forgot how lucky I am to have you." Chaik looked up, surprised but relieved. "Tenny. I've been worried," he said softly. "I didn't want to push, but I could feel the distance growing. I'm glad you see it now." Tenny smiled, genuine this time. I do. And I want us, just the way we are. I don't need yachts, private jets, or desert sunsets. I need you. Chike pulled her into a warm embrace. And I need you too, he said quietly, smiling against her hair. Tenny's phone buzzed again. A notification from Instagram, someone had shared Amara's last post. Tenny paused, feeling a twinge of pity. She had the glamour, but not the heart. I have the heart, and that's real. That night, Tenny posted her own photo, simple, cozy, with Chike by her side, a small smile shared between them. Caption: True love isn't about glitter or glamour. It's about loyalty, trust, and hearts that stay. Hashtag blessed with the best hashtag real love. For the first time in weeks, Tenny felt at peace. She realized that chasing illusions never leads to happiness, and that the simple, steady love she had with Chike was worth more than all the luxury in the world. Amara, far away, had learned her lesson the hard way. Tenny, at home, had learned it before heartbreak could touch her. The contrast was clear, and the moral was undeniable. True love, patience, and loyalty outweigh fleeting glamour every time. The next morning, Lagos was alive with its usual hustle, the street vendors calling out, the cars honking, the distant hum of traffic. But inside Tenny's small apartment, there was a quiet sense of peace that hadn't been there for weeks. Tenny woke up first, sunlight streaming through the curtains, and saw Chike already up, preparing breakfast. He had made eggs, bread, and freshly brewed coffee, simple, ordinary, but it felt like a feast. She watched him quietly for a moment, her heart swelling with gratitude. He hadn't done anything extravagant, hadn't promised her the world, but he had been there, loyal, patient, and steady. "Good morning," he said softly, turning to smile at her. "Good morning," Tenny replied, her voice gentle and warm. She walked over and hugged him from behind. "Thank you for always being you." Chike chuckled, ruffling her hair. "I think being me is enough, but I'm glad you think so," he teased. Tenny smiled, the tension of the past weeks melting away. She realized that what mattered wasn't wealth, glamour, or Instagram fame, it was love that endured, care that was consistent, and a heart that stayed true. Later, they sat together on the balcony, sipping tea and watching the city wake. Chike reached over and took Tenny's hand. "I know the past few days have been difficult," he said softly. "But I want you to know, no matter what, I'm here. I'm not perfect, but I'm yours." Tenny squeezed his hand, eyes shining. "And I'm yours too, Chike. I've learned my lesson. I was chasing illusions, but now I see what's real. And what's real is more than enough." The couple laughed, sharing small jokes, teasing each other, and simply enjoying the comfort of being together. The love that had been tested by envy and comparison now felt stronger, deeper, and more grounded. Tenny glanced at her phone but resisted scrolling through social media. For the first time, she didn't care what anyone else had. She didn't envy Amara's past posts, didn't wish for yachts or deserts. All she wanted was this moment, this life, this love that endured the test of temptation and distraction. Chike leaned back, wrapping an arm around her shoulders. "See? We don't need glitter or luxury to be happy," he said. Tenny rested her head against him, a peaceful smile on her face. "You're right. This is everything." In that quiet, ordinary morning, Tenny realized the truth that social media and envy could never teach. Happiness doesn't come from chasing others' lives. It comes from valuing the love, loyalty, and consistency right in front of you. And in that simple apartment in Lagos, a relationship that had been threatened by comparison and longing had been redeemed, stronger than ever, grounded in reality, trust, and genuine love. Weeks later, life in Lagos had returned to its steady rhythm. Tenny and Chike's apartment felt warmer than ever, filled with laughter, small shared meals, and quiet moments of comfort that spoke louder than any luxury abroad could. Tenny often thought back to Amara's Instagram posts, the yachts, the first-class flights, the glittering desert dinners. She no longer felt envy, instead, she felt gratitude. Gratitude for a love that was real, consistent, and rooted in trust. One evening, as they sat on their balcony watching the city lights, Tenny glanced at Chike and smiled. "You know," she said softly, "I used to think happiness was flashy clothes, foreign trips, and Instagram likes. I thought luxury was everything." Chike chuckled, shaking his head. "And now?" "Now," Tenny said, squeezing his hand, "I know happiness is love you can count on, loyalty you can trust, and moments like this, ordinary but ours. They sat in silence, letting the city hum around them. The lesson was clear: chasing illusions, wealth, or someone else's life could never replace the richness of real love and patience. Tenny picked up her phone and posted a simple photo of herself and Chike, no filters, no luxury, just the two of them smiling at the camera. Caption: Not all that glitters is gold. True happiness is in loyalty, love, and hearts that stay. #blessed with real love. #lessons learned. #Lagos life. The post went viral, not because it showed wealth, glamour, or perfection, but because it told a story people could see themselves in: envy, mistakes, heartbreak, and ultimately, wisdom. From afar, Amara's story had become a cautionary tale. Her followers saw the glitter of her posts, followed by the sudden collapse of her luxurious fantasy. They learned, just like Tenny, that appearances can be deceiving, and true value lies in what is real, not what is shown. Tenny's friends messaged her, praising her humility and perspective. Finally, one commented, "We see you've learned the real lesson." Tenny laughed softly, resting her head against Chike's shoulder. "Some lessons are better learned the easy way," she said, but in her heart, she knew the hard way could have been far worse. And so, the story spread across Lagos, across social media, across hearts, a story of envy and longing, of luxury and heartbreak, and of the ultimate truth: loyalty, love, and patience outweigh glitter, glamour, and illusions every single time. It was a story that would be shared, discussed, and remembered. A story that reminded people: he who marries for gold may lose the heart. He who loves with patience will always find joy. In the end, Tenny and Chike laughed quietly on their balcony, grateful for each other, and for the lesson that had almost been lost but had now made their bond unshakable.